Alright, so I'm just going to show you all how to create an eraser in Construct 3. So let's get started with a new project. Just going to give it a title. Let's call it Rob's Eraser Demo. Call it whatever you want, obviously. I'm just going to have the viewport size to these dimensions, and I'm going to keep the orientation to landscape. And click Create. And first thing I'm going to do is just going to go onto the layout. I'm just going to change this size so it's the same as the viewport. So if you remember, I had those dimensions. Next thing I'm going to do, let's sort the layers out first. So we've got layer 0. You can either just click on it, or if we just click off it, you can right click on rename, and let's call this one the background. Click enter, right click, add layer at top, and I'm going to call this one the foreground. So the foreground's on layer 1 and background is on layer 0. And I'm just going to add some sprites in, give us something to play with. So let's call it background image. And I'm just going to load something up. So let's get rid of that size down. So this is just a random picture. Oops. I need to scribble on there. If you do scribble on your picture, just go up here or press Ctrl Z. Just going to resize it so it's the same size as everything in the viewport. So 854, 480, enter. And you can't really see it on this picture very well, but the origin point is actually in the middle. So we want to change that. Come over here, right click and quick assign top left. Just makes it a lot easier to deal with, I think. So as we're moving it around now, you can see the position up here. We want that to be 0, 0. Press enter. That just snaps it right into the corner. And want to foreground, so let's go back onto sprites, call it foreground image, and for this one we'll have it, let's go for a blue, shall we? It's my favourite colour, so go for that. Just colour it in, resize it, so we wanted 854, 480. Obviously use whatever dimensions you want, whatever you set it as. I'm going to change that origin point again, so you can see it right there in the middle. We want that to go top left, and you can either go by eye, but it's a lot quicker to just type it in, I find. So what I want to achieve is somebody uses an eraser, it rubs this blue off, and then it reveals the image underneath that. That's the goal of this little project. So let's add some more sprites in. So we want to have an eraser. And let's make things different colours. So you can just choose a size over here and just go on your brush and do a circle that way. You could also go over here, see where the middle is. I think that might be the middle. Just stretch it out. I was a bit wrong there. Doesn't matter though. That'll be about circle. And you can click on this button, that just resize, click on this one first, That just crops all the background bit off that. And then let's resize it to 20 pixels by 20. I think that's a good size. There we go, that's our eraser. So when I move this around, what I want it to do is to rub this out. I'm going to add 2 extra things actually, make that 3. So we want to have the touch plugin, and I also want to add 2 dots. I will explain what those do later on. In fact, they don't even have to be dots. I think I'll make them square. Just gonna do a random colour at the moment. It can be any size. Let's just make it 50 by 50 for now. You can just do the same again, or we can just go on clone object, and then so we've got dot 1 there, dot 2 here. We've got our backgrounds. Let's go into the event sheet now. Type some stuff in. So let's go touch. Is touching object, and we want the foreground image. You can have the background image, I don't think it would make any difference, they're in the same place. And let's have a condition on there, so right click, add another condition, system every tick, and add action. So we want to say dot 2, and we want to, in fact I'll just use the search bar, it's a lot faster. We want to set the position to touch dot x on the x field. On the y we want to go touch dot y. So that'll be everywhere we touch on this foreground image, it will set the dot 2 to where the touch is placed. I know this won't make much sense at the moment, but just bear with me. And we want to create the eraser. We want this to be on dot 1 dot x, y is dot 1 dot x, and let's set the angle. Let's go set angle toward position. We want it to be dot 2 dot x, 2 dot y. I will explain this, of course, what's going on. I know it's going to look a bit confusing at the moment. I could actually do a much simpler version of an eraser, but it's really not very good. Now I might even show you how to do that as well. Just in case, you know, you're finding this too complicated, I'll do a simple version. So let's go set width to distance. So I'm just putting dot 1 dot x, comma, dot 1 dot y, dot 2 dot x, comma, dot 2 dot y. And then we also need to add some distance, so we had the eraser at 20 pixels, so let's put 20 in there. And we want to go dot 1 position. In fact, we'll go and set position to another object. To dot 2. Done. So it's actually all done in 3 events. So let's just add another 2 things in. So razor, we want to compare x. So the x coordinate, if it equals 0, be a razor width to equal 0. I will explain why. I'll even demonstrate what that does. For now I'll just type in all the code and what am I doing there? Let's just go add system. Nope, don't want that. Let's go touch is touching object. So foreground. And this time we want to say if we're not touching the foreground. So to do that, let's just highlight it, right click, click on invert, so we can see this X here now. And we'll go dot 1, set the position to touch dot x and touch dot y. So let's just do the run out. This won't actually be an eraser. Okay, that's not very good at all. First of all, let's take this off there. So what we need to do is actually sort these layers out. So let's just zoom out a minute. So just Control minus. So we want, oops, just close that down a minute. So this is the foreground image. So that's on the foreground. This background, this needs to go onto the background layer. So just go there. And this is foreground, that's fine, fine. And that's on foreground, so that's all good. You can do things a lot quicker, just highlight it and just change the layers. It does it all at one go. Let's just set that back down to the right place. And let's see what that looks like. Oh, it's still not working. See, I see the problem now. So we've got here, so create object eraser on layer 0. So this is creating it onto the background. So we want to make sure this is on layer 1. Click done. So it won't be an eraser yet. This is actually going to look like a paintbrush. It should paint it red now. There we go. And as you can see, we've got these sort of dots here. I'll fix that problem. So if we come over to dot 2 and we want to set the alpha to 0 and basically use the brush, you can colour it in or you just use a big brush and just basically do it in one click. So it is there, it's just invisible. So do the same on dot 1. So change the Just colour it in, make sure that the alpha is on 0. Oops. Close it down when you're done. So this can actually be deleted. You can leave it on if you want to, but these, whatever you do, don't delete these, because we've got those as set position. If you destroy it on this screen, this won't have anything to be referenced to. So let's just run the layout again. So there we go. That's looking better. But obviously you're after an eraser, not a paintbrush. So let's sort that out. So if we click onto the eraser, you then need to go to Effects, Blend Mode. It's on normal at the moment, so let's change that to Destination Out. As you can see now, it's actually changed to a black dot. And now if we go onto the foreground layer over here, you'll see something called Force Own Texture. Just click in this box and you should notice it's actually disappeared now. If you're struggling to find where it's gone, just go over on the right side, click Eraser. Same with the dots, anything you want to find, it's all here. See a little problem actually there. Let's double click on this. So if we go onto the origin point, that doesn't quite look in the middle to me, so let's place that in the middle. There we go. And let's test it out. It's always good to test things out, see where you're going. So as you can see, slowly starting to reveal the background image now. And that is the basics of things. Let's explain a few things, what things mean and how to do different things. So the way it's working is you've got these two dots and you're setting it to where you're touching the screen, but computers, they don't always do things exactly where you tell them to do it. So by having these two dots, it's sort of I don't know how to explain this very well. What's happening is you've got two dots and we've got these as invisible, and we want to say that where there's a difference between where the computer registers the touches, it basically stretches that eraser to fill that gap. So you get like more of an oval, the circle to turn into an oval shape, and it'll be set at the angle that this dot 2 thinks it's been placed at. It's basically the gist of it. Now this, why did we do this? I'll show you why. If I just take that off, it's easier to show you than explain things. So if we now just click here, you can see it starts drawing these sort of lines here. And the reason it does that is because the touch plugin, by default, it's the X and Y coordinates are set to 0, 0. So what this does is just saying that if it's at the X coordinate, if that equals 0, we want to set the width to 0. You could also do this on the, say it as Y is equal to 0, or you can do it as both, but one will do fine. And so if we want to change the size of the eraser. Let's show you how to do that. So there's the eraser. Let's change it to 50 by 50, or let's go really big. Let's go large, 70 by 70. If we just zoom out, see that's not actually very round anymore. So let's just click new and let's just draw a circle. We'll go for a little bit of pink as well, I think. So we just draw it out. Let's go to there. Let's resize that. So we've got now 56 by 56. And so we close that down. In fact, let's make sure that origin point, it does this weird thing. Don't know why it does that. I think because it might be a little bug in the system. So that looks about round. Oh, we've got the same size again. Just make sure that those are the same values, whatever they are. And now we want to go into the event sheet, so change this value here. So that was 20. Let's make sure that's changed to 56. And you can always experiment with things, but if you have a number that's lower or a lot greater, trust me, it won't look very good. So let's just run that. There you go, so the brush is a lot bigger now. It does have so this system, this type of eraser even, it works quite well on larger brushes especially. Smaller brushes, it's not quite so good. I have experimented with other types of eraser sort of systems, trying to invent new things. I tried to do one, so I went on Eraser once and tried to do an eraser based on this sort of pathfinding sort of behaviour, but it sort of created a bit of a delay, and I think this is the best sort of type of eraser that I can think of doing. If someone knows how to do an even better eraser, that would be really good to share that. And if you, okay, so if you don't want to do all these dots and things, let's show how to do a really simple system. So let's just get rid of all our hard work here. This is an eraser at its simplest. It's not going to look very good, but I'll show you something that works and is super simple. So just 2 events this time. Doesn't get any simpler than this. So as you can see, it still works alright, but if you go in fast now, you can see it's starting to, you can see these circle bits, and if you go really fast, it actually leaves these gaps here. So even though we're sort of saying every tick do this, it's not actually keeping up. So what we did before is to say, so this would be like dot 1, dot 2 position, and we're basically saying, you know, once it's here, stretch it to this position. It's not a perfect, let's undo all those things. So even at, so as you can see, it sort of stretches it out into an oval shape. Not many people will be scrubbing super fast. It could even be quite artistic, I guess. But that's how it works as far as I can tell. Hope this video has helped somebody. If you do find it useful, please leave a like. Always appreciate that. And thank you for watching.